Hello and welcome to the Embrace the Mud podcast. Today, we're going to be covering a topic that actually one of you wrote in and asked me to cover, and that is the difference between empathy and codependency. Wow, such an important thing to be able to distinguish in your relationship. So we're going to dive into that today, and I want to thank you, Amy, for writing in with this request. All right, without further ado, let's get to it. You are listening to the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, and life-giving relationships. Why focus on relationships? Because the quality of our intimate partnerships and close connections influences our health, happiness, and longevity more than anything else in our lives. Relationships matter a lot. So together, let's jump into the mud, aka our messy relationships, pull some weeds, plant some seeds, and create an enriching environment where strong relationships can take root. I am your grateful host, Dara Posner. I am a relational disaster working toward relational mastery. I am also a positive psychology coach, a relational mindset coach, a blogger, and now a podcaster. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships. If you are a fan of this podcast, please subscribe, follow, like, review, and share. Your engagement in this way is crucial to the success of the podcast, and I appreciate you taking just a few seconds to support my mission, which is to help people like you flourish in life and love. All right, so before we dive in today, I do want to make a quick shout out to those of you who are listening regularly and starting to communicate with me and engaging with me on Instagram and emailing me with your thoughts about the episodes I've put out so far and your requests for future episodes. Your support and your engagement in this way means the world to me. It really just puts an extra pep in my step. So I just want to thank you so much. And for those of you who haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me. I really want to create an engaging community of all of us who are striving to create healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships and to do it together. All right, well, let's get into it. Empathy and codependency. These are often confused and misunderstood, and it's crucial to differentiate between the two, especially in the realm of romantic relationships. So, what's the difference between empathy and codependency? Let's start off by understanding empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes, seeing the world through their eyes, and connecting on a deeper emotional level. Empathy is a beautiful and essential quality in healthy relationships. Without mutual empathy, you cannot have a deeply connected and intimate relationship. However, some folks find themselves in situations where their empathy seems to backfire on them. They might attract people who take advantage of their kindness, leaving them drained and exhausted in their relationships. And so why does this happen? Well, it's essential to recognize that true empathy involves setting boundaries. Empathy doesn't mean taking on someone else's pain as your own or feeling responsible for fixing someone else's problems. It means being able to hold space for them while maintaining a strong sense of self. Now let's talk a little bit about codependency. Codependency often goes hand in hand with excessive empathy, but the two really are not at all synonymous. Codependency is a dysfunctional pattern where individuals prioritize the needs of others to the detriment of their own well-being. It's about feeling compelled to rescue or fix other people, often at the expense of one's own needs. The fundamental difference between someone who has empathy and someone who is codependent is that strong sense of self. An empathetic person can be fully present and supportive without feeling the need to take responsibility for someone else's journey. So, why does it matter to understand this difference? Well, confusing empathy with codependency can lead to unhealthy relationship dynamics. It's not about dampening your empathetic nature. It's just about learning to harness it in a way that's beneficial for you and your relationships. So how can you practice true empathy? Here are just a few tips. Number 1, set clear boundaries. Understand where you end and the other person begins. It's okay to support and care for someone without taking on their problems as your own. Number 2, maintain self-awareness. Regularly check in with yourself. Am I feeling responsible for someone else's happiness or well-being? And if so, I'm going to take it as a sign that I might be crossing over into codependent territory. And number 3, encourage personal responsibility. Be there, support others, help them, but empower them to take charge of their own lives. Your role is to be supportive, not to carry their burdens. Remember, a healthy relationship involves 2 individuals with strong senses of self coming together to support and lift each other up. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Embrace your empathetic nature. It is a beautiful gift that you have to offer to those that you love, but do so mindfully. Recognize the beauty of true empathy, which involves being present without shouldering the weight of someone else's world. If you've struggled with these dynamics in your relationships, I want you to know you're not alone. It takes time and practice to navigate the fine line between empathy and codependency. Many of my clients have this as a core issue and are learning to really understand and practice the difference. All right, that is all I have for you today. I want to thank you for joining me here on another episode of the Embrace the Mud podcast. If you found today's content helpful, please share it with someone who you think might benefit from it. I also want to invite you to follow me on Instagram if you aren't already. My handle is @EmbraceTheMud. I'm about to kick off a 29-day Love Boost Challenge for February. This is going to be an opportunity for us to come together and deliberately take actions every day for the entire month of February to connect more deeply with ourselves and the people in our lives. So if that sounds interesting to you and you would like to be a part of the community who's going to be doing the Love Boost Challenge in February, follow me over on Instagram, where I will be predominantly sharing details about the challenge. All right. And also, if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, Questions for the Soul, and you're someone who likes to journal and spend time writing as a way to connect more deeply with yourself, Questions for the Soul is the newsletter for you. I send out a weekly journal prompt to do just that, to guide you inwardly and help you connect with your deeper values, your needs, and your desires for your life and your relationships. And as usual, I'll be back here very soon with another episode for you. Until then, please remember, you are wired for love and connection. You are capable of love and connection. You are worthy of love and connection. I'll see you soon.